Hello you, it's me. Today we're going to be talking about Aliens Phalanx by Scott Sigler. As you can probably tell from the cover, this is a book written within the Alien movie franchise. I'm going to do plot review. Things I liked and things I didn't like aren't going to be plot related this time, so they're going to be mixed in, but there's going to be stuff marked on the time bar if you want to click around. This novel is set in a world long colonized by humans, and for reasons unknown, these people have regressed to an almost medieval level of technology and society. They live in heavily fortified settlements built deep underground or dug into the side of high up mountains. And xenomorphs prowl the world outside these settlements, known to the people of this world as black demons. Charged with ferrying information and trade goods between settlements, runners brave the outside, cutting complicated routes across the land through the forests to outsmart and outwit and outrun the xenomorphs. They don't last long. They don't live very long. They're eventually, usually, caught, dragged off into the wilderness by the demons. And in this story, we follow a group of runners after the news received by their city that another city has fallen to a demon incursion. I've only ever read one Alien franchise novel before, which was Alien Out of the Shadows by Tim Lebon. And I really liked that one. It was set between Alien and Aliens. It tied perfectly into the movie franchise. So I think I went into this novel with pretty high expectations. It must be difficult writing a franchise novel that isn't directly a novelization of a film. Because firstly, you have to use the foundations that somebody else has laid. You can't make big decisions that are going to have consequences for the franchise as a whole in case the creator wants to move it a different way, and then this piece of work falls by the wayside and is considered not canon. So you have to sort of create a story that can fit comfortably on a timeline of somebody else's without actually affecting anything. And that kind of begs the question to me, why do it? I wonder whether the author had a good idea for a story first and thought the Alien franchise might be a good place to tell that story, or whether specifically they wanted to write an Alien story. If the first, does it indicate a lack of confidence in a story needing to set it on a foundation that's already laid out? Or is it wanting to contribute to a universe that you're a fan of? Or is this commissioned by somebody who works within the franchise? I don't know. I'm actually super curious about fan fiction and stories written in other people's worlds. If it's something you do, what motivates you to do it? Leave me a comment, because I'm genuinely interested. There's a lot to like in this book. It's action filled, it's fast paced. It's such an easy read, you could probably knock through it in an afternoon. The main character is a fun main character to follow, and it's interesting seeing the dynamics between the settlements on a completely alien world. My main beef with this book is that it is an Alien franchise book, and the Alien franchise is a horror franchise, and this is not horror. This is one that definitely leans a lot harder into sci-fi, which, while I love sci-fi, is a shame considering the original Geiger visualization of Alien and how scary that is. Cosmic horror, body horror. I would love to see an Alien franchise novel that just went full Clive Barker on me. Does part of the horror in other Alien stuff come from the confined setting in space? And the knowledge that even with a lot of tech, you're still not safe? Is sci fi integral to the reason that it's horror? Maybe. It's interesting, though, given the setting of this as one that is faux medieval, with demons roaming the land between cities. It kind of serves to showcase how little it takes to swing one way or the other into sci-fi or fantasy. With very, very few changes, most of which happen in the last 100 pages of the book, this could easily be a fantasy novel. The only thing that stops it being a fantasy novel, in my opinion, is our prior knowledge as fans going into it that it is from a sci-fi franchise, and the things we spot in the story, which are clear references to things we've seen in movies. And I think it's unfortunate that this knowledge kind of prevents any kind of surprise or misdirection. The reveal of the xenomorphs to the main character as an alien that came to the planet along with himself means nothing to us because we knew going into it as the reader what the deal was. I wish there was some way that that could have been as much of a surprise to me as it was for the main character. Take, for example, N.K. Jemisin's The City We Became, in which you don't find out until very, very late in the game that it is actually using the foundation of a world build put down by somebody else decades before. I won't tell you who, because spoilers, and it's amazing. If you haven't read it, go read it. But I wish I didn't know that this was an Alien novel. And then I wish I'd had that slap me in the face. I think while we're on the note of it not being horror, another thing I couldn't really get behind was the fact that in this, the aliens were so much less scary. They were made less formidable. They were made easily killable by pretty much Bronze Age technology. When in the movies, these things are scary because your brain screams predator and you know that there is no way you can win, that these things are going to rip you to pieces. So while it hammers in again and again and again that the main character is in danger, we don't really feel that because the threat has been diluted or made small by convenience. Which is another thing that kind of grated on me with this book. The main character was just presented convenience after convenience. I get that in the timeline of this world, obviously you'd want to tell your story at that pivotal moment when the tides changed. But the xenomorphs are essentially allergic to a leaf found on this planet. And apparently they're really bad at fighting people holding shields and standing in a line. Come on. In this book, there is a romance storyline, which made me go, ugh, because the Alien franchise isn't the time or the place. It's in a society where romance is obviously based on very little and happening over short periods of time because everybody thinks they might die tomorrow. But the fast-paced insta-love element combined with the writing style, combined with the age of the protagonist, and the lack of character depth outside of the protagonist made this feel like YA. So this could be a good gateway, I guess, for somebody who doesn't read a lot of sci-fi, who may have read a lot of fantasy YA. Now, because of everything I have just said, you may think I didn't like this book. But actually, I enjoyed it a lot and had a really good time reading it. It's only retrospectively that I'm pulling it apart because it was really fun to read. I think the key when you're going into franchise novels is to not take them too seriously. And then if they surprise you, that's great. But if not, you still had a cheesy good time. So this one, I think, gets a 3 stars from me. So thanks for tuning in for this review. If you like sci-fi, don't forget to join our Sci-Fi Interstellar Book Club. That's going to be linked down below. Don't forget to follow me on Goodreads and Twitter. That's also linked down below. And if you want to join our Stephen King read-along, I'll link the Discord for that as well. And I'll see you soon for the next review. Bye.